This is Professor Michael Chapman. I'm one of the most experienced IVF doctors in Australia. I believe that an important part that I can contribute is to educate patients in relation to fertility, infertility, and all that involves. These series of podcasts help to educate you. I hope they are helpful to you. If you wish to know more, however, I'm more than happy to have you contact me via email, which is profmchapman@gmail.com, or make an appointment to see me on 9138 4222.
Okay. Jen asks, many women are delaying pregnancy until their mid to late 30s. What are the biggest fertility challenges you see with this trend, and what proactive steps can women take?
Well, so it is absolutely true. Women, don't blame women only. Their partners are also not keen to have babies when they think they can't afford it. And surveys have been done which suggest that it may be, in fact, the male is the predominant reason why putting off a pregnancy occurs. So at 35, your odds of getting pregnant in 12 months are around about 90%. If everything's normal, you have regular periods, he's got good sperm, your fallopian tubes are open. By 40, that's dropped to about 60% in the 12 months. So fertility rates are declining. So if you put it off after 35, then statistically you've just got less chance of getting a pregnancy. And it doesn't mean you won't get pregnant, it just means the odds are less. And perhaps if you are going down the IVF track, you've got to actually plan to have more than just the one cycle. The other part of the explanation for that fall off in fertility is about egg quality, and I've talked about that in some detail. But that fall off in egg quality and egg numbers is what contributes to lower fertility rates. And that's the implication of delaying childbirth. However, like many things in the modern world, you can bank eggs as a protection against the future. So egg freezing is probably, for a woman in her mid-30s, from 30 to 35, I say, is the ideal age for egg freezing. If you're not contemplating a baby soon, then freeze the eggs. If you have a partner and you don't want to have a baby at the moment, you could create embryos with his sperm, and they can be frozen and be held and wait for the day that it is good for you to be pregnant. So there are two ways of protecting yourself against the ticking clock of reduced fertility, particularly over the age of 38. In relation to egg freezing, it does require medication for 10 days, a minor operation to collect the eggs, and then they're frozen and put aside for the future. Statistics on this is that if you are 30 and you freeze eggs, you probably need about 10 eggs to give you a 70% chance of a baby in the future. If you're 35, that's risen to about 15 eggs. When you're 40, to get a 70% chance of a baby, you need to have frozen 50 eggs, which is just an indication that the egg quality across the board is much, much less, and finding the good egg is much more difficult. So implications of the trend, less babies altogether, and we're seeing that now in virtually every Western country in the world. Replacement of the dying is not happening, and is a great worry to governments, because there won't be people to pay the taxes going forward, amongst other things like the workforce. So how do we turn that around? I was looking at a graph the other day, certainly in the IVF world, and also the general birth rates in Australia. And about 15 years ago, the health minister and the government at the time brought in a baby bonus. It wasn't huge. It was like $2,500. But there was a blip significant rise in pregnancies after that. It didn't go on. I'm not quite sure why not. Probably a change of government. And there was a concern that the wrong people were using the baby bonus to have babies. Because 2,500 is not necessarily going to support a baby beyond the first couple of months of life. But it was an incentive to think about having babies, and I think things like that are important. The other important aspect, I think, is when you've had a baby in the modern world, when we both want to keep on working, both partners want to keep on working, they're going to have to find daycare. And daycare doesn't come cheap. A couple of $100 a day is $50,000 a year. It's not tax deductible. The government made some moves, as in the Scandinavian countries, for instance, to make childcare much more affordable. I am certain many people would think about having a baby or a second baby to keep the population growing.
And don't forget that you can access all the previous episodes by going to our website www.theivfjourney.com and select IVF Journey podcast from the navigation menu.